Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. And today we're taking a look at the latest update for my home theater, and that is what I've named as the Beast. It is the Monolith V2 15-inch THX Ultra Certified Subwoofer. This is a 1000 watt RMS powered subwoofer that Monoprice EU were actually kind enough to send out to me basically to check out for a review, and I've had it for roughly around about 2 weeks now. And what I'm going to do in this video is just go over the whole sort of shipping process, the first look, the unboxing, and first impressions. I will have loads more content coming, and there are some big surprises coming for the home theater as well, big updates. So if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also like this video so more people can actually see it, and it'll help me, it'll help the channel, and it'll help me produce more content for you guys. With that said, let's get on to the sort of shipping and unboxing process. So this isn't like a normal product, so this isn't a small item. If you've ordered anything online, soundbars, subwoofers, things like that, this is not going to be anything like that. Be prepared for an email from a freight company, not a shipping company, because this thing is huge. It weighs 73 kgs, I believe it is, on the actual pallet, and unboxed, I believe it's around about the 60 kg mark. So it's not a light product. Now, luckily, once you've actually got it unboxed, and if you take off the little feet underneath, if you have carpet, then it will slide around and you can move it around single-handedly. But the initial unboxing part, getting it into your house and everything, you're probably going to need 2 people to do this safely. So you will get an email from a freight company. They'll arrange for the delivery. Now, because this is freight delivery, they're not going to bring it into your house and take away the packaging and everything like that. All they're going to do is they're going to drop it off on your property. They generally normally deal with business sort of properties. So in my case, they actually brought it in a big lorry. They brought it with a pallet lifter, and they dropped it as close to the house as they could actually get it. They did actually volunteer to take it around the back of the property if that was easier as well. Normally, I'm guessing that they don't actually do that, but that will be down to the individual freight companies. Once you've got it off the pallet, so it's literally just sort of wrapped around the pallet, depending on how much sort of protection they feel they need. The package itself is double boxed, so once you get it into your property, you can then take off that initial outer box, and the inner box is a lot cleaner. I would still recommend just throwing down some sort of protective wrap or something if you are taking it directly into your home theater, as I was. Now, once you've got it in, as I've mentioned, you do have it double boxed. Take it out of the initial box, and then what you want to do is just take everything out from the top. So what I did was, throughout the sort of unboxing process, I did take some video and just give you some shots in terms of what you get. So you do get some accessories. It does come with all 3 types of power adapter, which is nice. No need for sort of adapted cables, if you like. No need to put adapters on the end of a power cable. It comes with all of the ones that you actually need straight out the box. It also comes with some white gloves and some paperwork in terms of the order number, and basically just some information in terms of contact them if you do have any issues or any questions. Now, when you're actually getting it out of the packaging, the best way would probably be to turn it on its side, cut the bottom, and then slide it up and over. Now, because I wasn't intending on sending this back, I actually broke the box down. Normally I'd recommend that you don't actually do this, but in my case, it was actually the easiest way for me to do it, simply because of the amount of room or space that I had left in the room, because of other things that are going on in the home theater at the moment. Once it's unboxed, as you can see, you have the amplifier built into the back. It is a powered subwoofer, so what that means is it has its own amplifier built in, and everything is self-enclosed, so no need to buy a separate amplifier or anything like that. Everything is matched up, so you don't need to worry about sort of overpowering or underpowering the subwoofer. In comparison to my previous subwoofer, the one that came with my LG soundbar, as you can see, this thing is a behemoth. It's massive in comparison, and the output is also massive in comparison as well. I remember during my sort of audio video that I did on my home theater, I did mention the fact that if anything is going to get upgraded, then it has to be a substantial upgrade, and this is that. This will literally shake your house to its core. Every part apart from my home theatre, which is actually sounded in reasonably well thanks to all of the additional furniture, the carpet, the rugs and everything like that. But everywhere else in the house, this will shake everything. Now with my setup, because it's not a permanent setup just yet, I don't have an AVR that I've got this hooked up to. The way that I've actually hooked this up is quite ingenious. I didn't think it would actually work to this extent. I thought maybe I might be able to get optical audio out of the projector itself, but I didn't realize that this would actually work full stop. So this is a little bit of a hack that I've actually come up with, whereby I'm actually taking a optical cable out of the back of my Hisense L9G projector. I'm plugging that into a digital to analog converter, and that is then sending the phono cables to the subwoofer itself. The subwoofer only needs 3 cables essentially. It needs power to be plugged in, and it needs the import source. Okay, so what we'll do now is we'll just go over the back of the subwoofer, and I'll just guide you through in terms of what you actually get with the various imports and different settings that you can actually choose. Okay, so going from left to right, you have the crossover, which you can set anywhere from as low as 40 Hz up to 160 Hz. You have the phase, which you can adjust from 0 to 180, and then you have your level, which is basically the volume level. You then have a crossover switch, so you can either have the crossover enabled or disabled. You can have the equalizer set to THX or extended. Extended gives you lower frequency range, and you have the power selection, which you can either leave to auto on off, or you can actually turn on manually. Right, so my impressions of this hooked up to my system. So firstly, as you probably would have guessed from all the community posts, the social media posts on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all the other social media platforms I'm actually using, I'm blown away by this subwoofer. I've had heavy bass in the past. I used to be into car audio quite a lot, and I actually was running 4 15-inch subs in the back of my car, so I'm used to deep rumbly bass. But what this thing does really well is how low it hits and how clean the signal actually stays. Now in all of the sort of viral clips that I've recorded, what you'll probably notice is you're getting a lot of port troughing, and the sound isn't great. That is mainly down to the fact that no microphone on the iPhone can actually capture that audio, so it actually sounds completely almost clipping like. It sounds like it's clipping when it's actually playing back via the iPhone's videos. I've not listened back using the Sony's videos just yet with the built-in microphone, but I'm guessing that once again won't be able to actually replicate what it actually sounds like in person. Now you can have it set up in various different ways. At the moment what I've done is I've left the existing soundbar connected, and I have also left the sub connected as well. And what I'm doing is I'm using the Monolith to actually fill in all those deep bass frequencies that the existing soundbar just can't get to. There's various different test movies that I've used where the bass notes hit seriously low subsonic sort of frequencies, and this thing just pounds away. I've not dared put this full yet. I think the highest I actually got to was plus 6 dB, and at that point basically it was shaking the whole house, and as you can expect I have already had complaints from the neighbors. The performance, yeah, some might say it's overkill for a room this size, but the way I look at it is you always want to have it where you can run something at a lower level and still have that output. During movies, the way I've actually got this set up at the moment, with the existing setup still in place and with the existing subwoofer still in place, which I've actually turned down to 0 dB because this now does such a good job in terms of filling in that warm bass, the low, deep, rumbly bass. I believe I have this turned way down, so it's in the negative dBs. Bear in mind that with the method that I've actually hooked up, it doesn't adjust using the volume on any type of device you've got it connected to. Using optical, it just sends the signal straight. So because of that, you have to actually set it accordingly. And depending on the type of content, where I'm streaming it from, some content has really heavy amplified bass, and other content is a bit more muted. Either way, it's in the negative dBs at the moment. Once I get it hooked up to an AVR and I actually get it tuned in, that's when I'll be able to see the nuances in terms of the crossovers and things like that, where you can actually choose whether you want it all the way down, whether you want the 80 Hz cut off, or whether you want it all the way up to THX. THX, I believe, goes up to 120 Hz. Now, with the current setup, these speakers behind me in the actual soundbar, the subwoofer kind of overpowers everything at 120 hertz, and it sounds like it's slightly out of tune as well. So whenever speech is on the screen, you get this sort of delayed bass tone of the actual speech or the vocals themselves. So that's not ideal, but obviously I can tune that out just by dropping it down sub 80 hertz, and at that point basically all it's doing is it's just giving you all those missing frequencies that the built-in speakers and subwoofer aren't capable of delivering. Okay, now for me personally, because I used to be a bit of a bass head, and once you start to get back into the habit of bass, it's kind of like a drug. It draws you back in. I personally would want a second 15-inch just to balance out the front of the room. With this room, I think I'll probably go with the subwoofers at the front of the room, simply because I can only do it in one corner in the back of the room, and I'd rather just have a very balanced front soundstage. At the moment you do get it slightly overpowered from the left hand side, obviously behind me, looking towards me, which is the way that we're watching, compared to the right hand side where the built-in subwoofer just can't hit those same frequencies. I am curious about the new 16-inch, which is actually twice as powerful, and the bigger surface area of the 16-inch, and I believe it's slightly different design as well, a bit more heavy duty of a subwoofer. I'm just curious as to how low that can hit and how clean it can stay. Yeah, if I could get another 15-inch in this room to balance out the audio, that would just be the perfect setup. Eventually I am going to be going to a 7.2.4 setup with all separate speakers, and that's something that obviously you need to stay tuned to the channel for. So my initial first impressions are that I'm absolutely blown away by this sub, figuratively and also literally as well at times. Once you actually turn it up, it kicks so hard whilst also delivering deep bass. It is a ported subwoofer, so you do get the 3 ports at the bottom, and depending on how you choose to use it, it can deliver different types of sound as well as different frequency ranges as well. I believe the best configuration for sort of deep bass, if you want that lowest 12, or some people have even recorded as low as 10 hertz from this subwoofer, if you want those sort of frequencies, then I believe 2 ports sealed with 1 open is the best configuration. And you could also go 1 port, no ports, as well as all ports sealed. I've tested it with all the various sort of configurations, but at the moment obviously I don't turn it up to the point where I can actually use this fully. Once it's set up and configured via an AVR, then I'll probably look back into that. Bear in mind that this is just a first look. I've not had it long enough to be able to gauge an opinion in terms of longevity, things like that. So the full review will be probably coming maybe in a month, 2 months time, something like that. I'm gonna have a good usage of it through various different types of content, and then I'll deliver my actual final verdict. I have also tested it with music, even though generally I don't listen to music, and that's even more impressive. Soundtracks that I've tested headphones and quite heavy duty headphones, even the AirPods Max with, that I thought generally were lacking on the bass side of things, with this subwoofer they absolutely blow you away. And it is balanced as well. It's not like it overpowers everything, it just adds extra sounds, extra nuances to the track that you've just never heard before. Performance wise, at the moment I am really impressed, and from a bang for buck sort of perspective, I don't think there's much else on the market that can actually compete with Monoprice. Monoprice are sort of renowned for creating high value products, so they're producing products that are really high quality at much lower cost, simply because they cut out all the middlemen. So even with this sort of purchase, you're essentially getting the product straight from the factory or the depot. You're not going through a retailer, you're not going through a middleman. You're getting the product direct, which means they can save on all of the storage costs, they can save on additional profits for the middleman, for the merchant, and they're just shipping it directly to you. Now, when it comes to the audio side of things, Monoprice and Monolith, the Monolith range in particular, does it slightly differently, in the sense that rather than just aiming for the lower sort of echelons of things, they've basically taken everybody on head on. So they've gone for the big boys, and they've basically produced products that Some people, obviously the sort of more experienced YouTubers, have actually compared these with SVS and all the big, apart from the sort of £6,000–7,000 subwoofers out there, it holds its own against twice, sometimes 3 times the price subwoofers, and that's pretty consistent across the range for most of the Monolith products. I'm not just saying this because I've been provided the sub. This is the research that I actually did prior to even reaching out to Monoprice, and the fact that they were happy to actually provide me with this is just a bonus. My opinion on that was gauged from all of the reviews, and if you guys actually do your own research, which I always recommend anyway, and you look at all of the YouTubers out there, not necessarily just those who are affiliated or associated with Monoprice, but even those that just run independent tests, what you'll probably find is a very similar thing, where most of the Monolith products, and obviously the Monoprice products, but here we're talking audio, so we're talking about the Monolith range, they compete with stuff that is way above their price range, and I'm always about that. I'm always about value for money, and yes, there's certain instances where you want to get the best of the best, but a lot of instances, like with this particular room setup, it would be overkill to spend more on a product that doesn't deliver more, and this thing delivers a massive amount for the outlay that you're actually doing. Anyway, that's it for this particular video. If you have enjoyed it, please do subscribe, hit the notification bell, and also share on your social media platforms as well. As I've mentioned before, Mondays is the sort of home theatre overview or home theatre videos sort of set schedule, and I am trying to aim for 1 per week. So if you haven't already done so, please do subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out any of those. And I'd really appreciate if you also give this video a thumbs up as well. And until the next one, thanks very much for watching.